Hello everyone. I hope that everyone is doing fine. And let's start with our third lesson in which we're going to cover about other concepts, of course. So there are conditional statements, right? And of course, a lot of other things as well. So let's start with that. So I'm going to open here that same uh, Yeah. So I'm going to open here the same thing that is our online terminal, right? Online platform for doing the Python coding, of course. Uh, this is required because we haven't talked about the installation yet. So we will wait for a few more classes before going into the installation part. And first thing come first, which is I am waiting for everyone to join, but because the time has changed today, so maybe there will be a little less people joining the session, and maybe a lot of you people will join it afterwards. So that's okay. But my task is to deliver my today's lecture, which is about the conditional statements. So let's start with that. Saying so, let's open the Python compiler. So here I'm going to open this Python online compiler, right? And here we have this one which we use a lot right now, but later on we'll go for some terminal as well, because of course as the coding will have some codes that I need to share or some projects, then I would need to have some sort of GitHub repository for that. And that is the time when I'll be using some sort of platform. All right, same. Having said so, let's start with our coding for today. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to take into consideration that what happens when we go for conditional statements. So see guys, suppose we have two numbers. So this is number one in which we are storing 90, and this is number two which is storing 70. All right, give me a moment guys, just a second. All right, this is it. So I have a little task. Just wait for a second. All right, let's just start with it. So basically what happens is, suppose we have to make some sort of conditions, right? Now, if suppose number one, number two are there, right? And we know that how to make a comparison among these two numbers or three numbers is by using comparison operator, which is less than, greater than, or something like that, right? So if I'll say that print the value of num1 is num1 is less than num2, right? So suppose I'll print something of this sort, that num1 is less than num2, and basically we want that number 1 is less than number 2. So what is the result of it? So as soon as you'll run this code, you will find that the false is the final answer. Now what happens is that when you have the final answer is false, right? If suppose you will change the numbers, for example, instead of 70, you're having 170 here, and you will run these two, this particular statement, what will happen? True answer is coming. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is that comparison statements either are going to give you a result as true or otherwise is going to give you a result as false, right? These are the two possibilities for comparison operator. Now, if suppose you have some other part of the code, for example, you are saying that print line 1, right? This line 1 could be anything, but for right now, we are just writing line 1, and then print line 2, right? And similarly we have suppose 4 lines which are there. So right now I'm just writing it in the form of line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, but they can be actual code, right, which we want to perform. So now we want that, of course, line 1 and line 2 should run when the output of number 1 less than number 2 is true, and line 3 and line 4 should run when the output of number 1 less than number 2 is false. So basically we want to associate uh, the code with the values that we are getting as output from this particular expression. So for doing such things, when you want a particular part of your code to run at a certain value and other part to run at some other conditions, for doing so, you can use if and else statements. So let us see that how to do that. So I'll be writing here if, and then you have to pass an expression which can either result in true or can result in false, right? So instead of printing it here, you have to write this expression just in front of if. So now if is waiting for the output of this particular expression, whether num1 less than num2 will be true or will it be false. So we are waiting for the result, and now you have to put a colon here. That is, if num1 less than num2, if this particular expression, so you can enclose it inside a bracket as well, if this expression which you have just mentioned in front of if this will come out as true, then whatever you will mention with a proper indentation in the scope of if will be printed. And if this answer will come out as false, then whatever you will mention in a proper indentation with else, that is, whatever you will associate with else, will be printed at that moment when this expression will be false, right? So a proper indentation we are saying is needed. So either you can give 4 spaces or otherwise you can use one tab. So one tab is basically you're giving 4 spaces at a single moment. So whatever is in this particular indentation, this one tab space, right? This will be considered as a part of if. So whenever this particular expression will give out the result in form of true, then this is going to run. These part of the expression, this part of the logic is going to run, and whenever this expression is going to be false, then this part of the logic is going to run, which we again have given a proper indentation so that our compiler can know that this is part of else statement, right? So this is something that we are doing right now. As the values of num1 and num2 will change, this expression will result in either false or true, and accordingly, if the result of this expression is true, then these 2 lines are going to run, otherwise these 2 lines are going to run. So let us run it. As right now, num1 less than num2 will result into false, because into true, because 90 is definitely less than 170. So as this result is true, hence these 2 lines are going to run, which is printing line 1 and line 2, and else part basically is showing that whenever this result is false, then these 2 lines have to run. And let us see that also. So if suppose the first number is 190 and the second number is 170, and we are saying that num1 is less than num2. Of course, right now we are making a false assumption, or we are writing a false expression over here. So that's why this else part is going to run, which is going to print line 3 and line 4. So this is how if and else works, right? So I hope that I have made this particular thing clear, that how it works, right? So I hope that this is clear. Let us take another example for this. So suppose this time we want, so this could be any expression. You have to understand this, that the expression could be anything. So now let us take another number, which is 45. And we want to check that whether or not this number is an even number, right? So what we can do is that we can again say that if it is an even number, then you have to print this statement which is saying that number is even, right? And again we're saying that print the statement that the number is odd if the number is actually odd, right? Now, if you run it at this particular moment, if you're running this particular code, then you're going to get the output as number is even as well as number is odd, which is not going to happen. A number cannot exist in the same states at a single moment, right? So what is going to happen is that because at this moment, 45 for 45 both of the lines are printed, so we don't want that. We want to associate one statement with the one state of the number and another statement with the second state when the number will actually be odd. So we are going to write an expression over here which is saying that if number mod divided by 2 is equals to 0, right, which means that if you divide a number by 2 and the remainder of that particular division is 0, it simply means that the number is even. That's why it is not letting you it is not giving you any sort of remainder, right? So we are associating this part of the statement here, right, this part of the logic here, which is saying that if the number mod divided by 2 is equals to 0, which means that if the remainder is 0, then you have to print this particular line which is saying number is even. And if suppose this is not true and we have to associate some part of the statement with else, which is saying that if number mod divided by 2 is not equals to 0, you have to associate the another line which is number is odd. Now let us try this out. And then of course for 45, which is not a even number, the remainder is going to be 1, not 0. So this is not going to give us true as the result. So that's why obviously else part will run, which is showing that number is odd. Now let us run it again. This time both the statements are not running, only a single output we are getting, which is number is odd. Similarly, if you consider it to be even, then let us run it again, and this time number is even. So this is how this if else is working. I hope that this makes sense, that how things are working over here. Now in certain cases what happens is that it is not only about two choices, we can have number of like different choices as well. So let's work on that. So suppose we have choices such as that on Monday, right? On Monday, we want to print that you have to wear a blue dress, right? This is my favorite example. So we are saying that on Monday, we want to color code our complete week. So on Monday, we are saying that it should be a blue colored day. And on Tuesday, we are saying that it should be a brown color day, right? That is, you have to wear a brown dress to the office. And on Wednesday, we're saying that it should be a pink day, right? And so on, so on, so on. So basically, what we want from our application is that the user should enter the day, and based on the day that the user has entered, our code should show the user that what color should they wear today, right? So this is what the code is going to do for us. So let's write a code for this. So I'm asking the user that, okay, what day do you want to know about, right? So we are taking the input in day and we are asking that input what day you want to know about, right? So we are asking the user that what day they want to ask about, And then we're saying, here comes another part of the code, which is elif, right? So when you want to make multiple, when you want to make multiple conditions, then you use elif statements as well. So here we are saying that if day is equals to Monday, then you have to run this part of the code where we are saying that print today is a blue day, right? Not a blue day exactly, but a blue dress day. Then elif basically will allow you to make multiple decisions. So here again you can put some conditions. For example, you can say that if day is equals to Tuesday, because the user is going to enter some of the days, right? So if the day is Tuesday, then what you have to do is you have to print brown, because we have given the user brown color for Tuesday. And in the similar way, you can make n number of multiple conditions. You can say that if the day is equals to Wednesday, right? At this moment, what should happen is that you should print. Now brown is over, so you have to print pink at this point. So this is what is happening. Now you have to tell me first of all whether you understand it or not, and then we will continue further. So first of all, tell me whether or not this particular thing is clear to you people. So even if you're watching this video after some time, then also you should write it in the comment box that it is clear or not clear, because that gives us a very good insight about how we are going on and how should we proceed further. So uh, let us move further. Now this is only about Wednesday, but we can also go for day equals to Thursday, right? And you can go on and on for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as well, but I'll stop it here itself. I'll say that okay, if the day is Thursday, then you have to suppose wear a black dress, and otherwise, if the user has entered some other input which is not mentioned in our cases, right, which is not one of these days, that is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, then we have to print that you have entered a wrong input, right? So this is our program. You can make it up to the point where you will get the Sunday as well, but we will stop it here. So input, wrong input is what we are printing at this moment if there is some other day that the user has given in the input. So let us run this program now. So what do you want to know about, right? They're asking, what do you want to know about? We are saying that we want to know about Monday, right? That what color do we have to wear on Monday? And the user is getting the output as blue, which means that you have to wear a blue dress on Monday, right? Similarly, run it again. And now what do you want to know about? So I'm saying that we want to know about Thursday, and on Thursday the user is getting the output as black, so they have to wear a black dress. So and if you enter some other day or some other string, right, so at that moment you will get output as that wrong input. Even if you enter Sunday, which is a valid weekday, but because you have not mentioned it over here, so you're going to get the output as wrong input for that case as well. It is only about the cases that you have mentioned that will be taken care of in this particular part of the code. I hope that everyone is clear with this part. And let us see. So if suppose I'm entering here Sunday, then also we are getting the output as wrong input. So this is how it works. This is how simple the code is. So whenever you want to basically separate part of your codes based on certain conditions, you want to say that if this particular condition is true, then this part of the code should run. And if this part of the condition is true, then only this part of the code should run, then you can use if elif statements in that particular case. Now, it is not like that you have to only associate one line. Even if you want, then you can, use here multiple statements as well. So it is not like that you have to enter only one line. So this is Monday dress code, and you have to wear, wear blue. Now these three lines, because they have been given a proper indentation, hence they are right now uh, a part of if statement. And now if you run it, then of course you're going to get the output as these three lines, right? So this is Monday dress code, you have to wear blue. So this is how things are associated, right? Whatever you are writing with the proper indentation below the block will be considered to be its part. So I hope that this is clear. I hope that this is clear, and this is how we have used if else and elif statement. Now the next thing that we have to understand about is nested statements. So in the nesting, what we have to do is, so suppose we want to know about nesting, right? Let us consider two inputs here. So suppose the first input is that whether or not it is raining today. So we are going to keep the input inside rain, whether it is raining or not. So we are saying that user has to enter yes or no, right? Is it raining? So we are asking the user if it is raining, and we are also telling them that you have to either enter Y or N, right? And in the same way, we are going to ask them if they have an umbrella. So here we are going to ask for an input, and in the input string, we are saying that do you have an umbrella? Right? We are asking them for the umbrella. And again, we are saying that see, you have to either enter a Y or you have to enter a N, right? Only these two options are what you're having. And then you can go for nesting. What is the meaning of nesting? So we are saying here that if user, so first statement comes here wherein we are giving an expression that if rain is equals to Y, right? So there are two conditions, that if the rain is equals to Y, that if it is raining and the user has an umbrella, then he can go out, or otherwise if it is not raining, and whether they have an umbrella or not, that doesn't matter then. So if it is raining, then they should have an umbrella if they want to go out. But if it is not raining, then they can go out for sure. They don't need an umbrella, right? So this is a problem statement. Now we have to figure out a way in order to code this out. So we are saying if whether or not it is raining, right? So we are asking, is it raining? And we're getting the output as either Y or N. So either it will be true or false. If it is true, that is if it is raining, then inside it again we are making a statement. We are saying that is it do you have an umbrella? We are asking the user if he has an umbrella or not. So umbrella equals to Y, right? If this is true, then what we have to do is we have to print that the user can go out, of course. The user can go out as it is raining, but you have an umbrella. But if it is not, the user is not having an umbrella, this else statement, you have to understand this point, that this else statement is only associated with the inner if. It is not associated with the outer if, right? So it totally depends upon the answer of this particular statement or expression and not on this, right? So this else is just a part of this particular if, which is just above it, right? And here we are saying that if it is false, that is umbrella equals to Y is false. It means the user doesn't have an umbrella. So at that moment, we have to print that the user cannot go out because they don't have an umbrella, right? And this is it. And then this else comes, which basically is associated with the primary if, right? And in this particular else block, we are going to write that the user can go out because it simply means that it is not raining, right? Rain value is not y, it means it is not raining. So in this, we are not going to check for umbrella also, and we are saying that print you can surely go out, right? So this is how this code is framed. Now let us take the input from the user and let us see if our code is working fine or not. That is whether we are going to get the right value or not. So it is asking, is it raining? And we are saying yes, it is. And do you have an umbrella? So we are saying that yes, we do have. So the output is the user can go out. Let us run it again. Now, is it raining? Again, we are asking, is it raining? So this time we have said that no, it is not raining. And do you have an umbrella? So we are saying that no, we don't have an umbrella. But still, you can surely go out because it is not raining. So this is how the code here is framed, right? And now we have to basically stop this lecture right here. We have completed the if-else statements and nesting of if-else statements as well. And as the time was today the time was changed, so that's why not a lot of people could turn up into the class. But from tomorrow again we will have the session at 9 p.m., so I'll meet you there in the session. Till then you can just complete this particular part of the uh, tutorial wherein we were considering studying about the conditional statements. So see you tomorrow, that is same time 9 p.m., and let's catch up there.